back to building the boys. It's time for our weekly catch up. I'm off work. It's a beautiful thing, absolutely beautiful thing. And as I said in the last one, I'm road tired. And to prove how tired I am, on Monday, this is disgusting, but I don't mind telling you, on Monday, I slept for 14 hours. You believe that? So on Sunday night, I woke up, I went straight back to sleep, and 14 hours I slept for. That is, honestly, I've not slept that long since I was probably 30. It's well over a decade since I slept that much, but I feel so much better for it. And as I said, it's a strange thing. I knew I needed time. I knew I needed sleep, and I did. I'm disgusted with myself. So one of my days off was just spent asleep, but my God, did I need it. Model-wise, it's a quiet week, so we're in that weird week limbo where nothing is arriving this week. So we're not receiving any of our models this week. Next week we'll be getting Infinity Gauntlet. So I know Infinity Gauntlet, that's 7 to 11 because we've got 5 in the next one has shipped. And in that one as well, we'll also get the art prints. Now, I've loved the art prints we've had so far. We had some with R2-D2, we had some with Iron Man, and they're gorgeous. We've got 2 coming with the Infinity Gauntlet of Endgame and Infinity War. I love them, but they're the most awkward bloody shape. Honestly, getting a frame for these things is a nightmare because they're long but thin. And so if anyone knows of a frame that fits these, let us know, because I'm having a hell of a job finding frames for them. I really am, and I'd like to frame them. I think they're gorgeous things. I've got a lot of wall space. I've got a lot of white wall in this room because it takes a while for this one to look like the old Bill Broom. Will take a while because I pick up these things along the way and they end up all over the walls. So I'd like those on the wall. I think I would like those. And yeah, if you know of a decent frame on Amazon or something, let us know. Pop it in the comments because I'd love to get one for them. I really would. The Infinity Gauntlet will be good. I mean, this thing is flying up, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I've shown it you before, but I've got it right here. It's just the size of this thing, man, the heft. And we're nowhere near. I mean, we've only just started, and this thing is just, it's a thing of beauty. It really is. This thing's going to be gorgeous when it's done. And speaking of this leads me nicely into a conversation and a meeting I had on Saturday regarding a case for Ecto 1. Now, I've discussed on the channel before I did a video that I'm talking with the company at the moment about cases for models, display cases. And they're beautiful, man. They're so nice. I will have one soon. So my Ecto 1 case should be complete in about 2 weeks. And I've gone kind of high end. So I've gone for museum quality. You don't have to. When these are available to you, there'll be budget options. So if you just want a case and, you know, it doesn't have to be all singing, all dancing, you can definitely get that. But these are beautiful things. Now, I brought up to them the Gauntlet, and I took my base in for them to measure the Ecto 1 case against. And the base of the Ecto 1 is mirrored. And the reason why is because we've done all that work on the bottom of the car. You can look at the base of it and you can see the reflections. You can see underneath the car. And I brought this up to them and said, is this something you could offer? Because again, we do put a lot of work into these things and then can't see underneath. They said, yes, absolutely. They showed me the materials they've got to do a mirrored base, but then they showed me something. They said, we've even got different colour mirrors. And I'm like, really? Show me. So they've got gold. So they've got a gold mirror. And I thought, Infinity Gauntlet. So I asked them about cases for the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, I don't want a square case for mine. I want a tube. That's what I want. I want a perfectly round one, a tube. And they're going to do that for me. So I'm going to get a tube for the Infinity Gauntlet to sit in. Now, you could have a gold mirror base. So it's really going to light that thing up and make it glisten. I'm thinking, man, I want that. And it's going to look good. It's going to look gorgeous. You could do that. Or the other thing you can do as well is we do get a hexagonal display base with the Gauntlet. So again, we can get a tube big enough to fit that in. Or you could have a hexagonal, you could have a case that fits this thing perfectly. Because from the discussions I've had with them, I brought things up. The most bizarre one for me is that they never made a case for the Rootmaster. With the Rootmaster being one of, I'd say, based on the people I spoke to, one of the most popular and probably one of the most built models out there. It strikes me as bizarre that the company themselves never brought a case out. Now, I know different companies have offered them. But I said this to them. I said if you offered a mirrored base for the Rootmaster, people could see underneath it, but also wooden, and they're all in. So it is still early doors for kind of mass availability, but they are very eager to offer to this market. So I've got to get models to them. That's the hard part. So I've got my Route Master I can let them have. I've got my Iron Man I can let them have. I've got my Ecto I can let them have. But at some point I'm going to need others. So I'm going to need bases. I don't necessarily need models. I'm going to need bases. So at some point I might talk to some of you about whether or not you have a base that we can use and send back to you. And I'm sure that would involve a hefty discount on a case if you were good enough to do that. I don't have pricing for the cases yet. I don't. I know I'm paying for mine, but that won't be what the sell-through price is. I know I'm going to be overpaying because when these things are in more of a mass production, you'll get them a lot less. But I am paying for my case, so there's no skin in the game for me to sort of hawk them and say they're wonderful when they're not. I'm just paying for mine. And if it ain't great, I'll tell you it ain't great, but I've seen them. I know it is. This company makes cases for a very famous artist. I can't tell you who that is because of non-disclosure agreements, but it wouldn't take a genius to figure out who that is. It's clear cases. Think about it. But they'll look lovely. And when I've got one, and that should be about 2 weeks' time, I'll put Ecto in it and you can have a look at it. Because Ecto won't be finished in 2 weeks, but you'll be able to see the case itself and you'll see what I'm talking about. These things are beautiful. And they do all kinds of things, all kinds of etching and whatnot on them. And I showed them the Terminator. I showed them the T-800 and said, could you make one for that? Yep. I showed them the Alien, even with the tail. I said, could you make one for that? Yep. There is no limit to what they can make these cases for. But the plan is there will be a website where you could literally type in your model and it would just take you, this case fits it, and it'll give you the options for it. And I think that'd be wonderful because we don't really have that at the moment. You have to go trawling to find a case that fits you. And you'll find one that kind of fits or isn't quite what you wanted. This will just be this one fits this model. And it'll give you the option of having it with a base or one that fits over your existing base. And I think that's great. It's high time we had that, right? So that'll be good. That'll be really good. But I mean, to see this man in a tube all glowing and, oh, come on. Going to be beautiful. So we do have, as I said, we do have the next 5 Infinity Gauntlet have shipped. They might be here this week. I can't see it. They might be here as early as Friday or Saturday. I'm not optimistic that's going to happen. I think that's more likely going to be next week, which is fine. Disney Doll's House is due to ship on Friday, and Titanic is saying it's already shipped, but the site hasn't updated, which would suggest to me it hasn't. So I'm not holding my breath on that one. I think all we're going to get next week is Infinity Gauntlet. Week after, we're probably going to get Titanic, maybe Doll's House at the same time. I can't see it because we only did Doll's House last week. So Doll's House has got to be at least 3 weeks from now. So I can't see that coming anytime soon. So I think that the program's basically going to be Infinity Gauntlet's going to come next week. The week after, we're going to get Titanic, but also Batman. So the next 6 of the Tumbler should be here probably the first week of July. I know, again, as I've said before, the Hachette website was saying they shipped on the 22nd. They didn't. Believe me, they didn't. That thing's just rolling on 4 weeks. So it's not. That thing's going to ship around about now-ish. I'd say about Friday it's going to ship, and then you might get it a week or so's time. But first week of July, probably when you're going to see a Batman's. I've got to answer a question. I'm wearing it now. So I've had people ask me about the Robin shirt, right? I've had 4 emails about the Robin t-shirt. One, I'm very impressed you've even noticed I'm wearing a Robin t-shirt. But where did I get it from? Well, and sadly, I don't have a simple answer for you. I'd love to be able to say it was this website. You can go there and get one. It came in a loot crate. So anyone that ever had loot crates, you might remember there was one long time ago called Sidekicks. And it was all based on kind of, sidekicks. So there was a Ron Weasley thing in there. There was a few other bits and pieces, but it came with a Robin t-shirt. And I love this t-shirt. And the reason why you don't see a lot of Robin merch. I mean, I get it, because, if you can buy Batman, why buy Robin? But I like Robin. I do. I think he's kind of I think he's an unsung hero. And that's where it came from. So it came from a loot crate. You might still be able to get it. It was a Z box from Zavi. So you might still be able to get the shirt from there. I'd use caution with Zavi. I've had multiple issues with them in the past when I've used them because I like their stuff, but I don't believe they have any stuff. From my kind of experience with them, I think you place an order, then they order it from someone else. So it can take weeks and weeks and weeks for stuff to turn up. We got a funny story. We ordered some mugs at Christmas one year. They were just stocking stuffers. We ordered 4 mugs and we got about 6 weeks and these things hadn't turned up. And they said, just give me my money back. And then there's this big song and dance. They used to do this thing where they said, we can't give you money back because part of the order's already shipped. And you go, no, it hasn't. And they used to do this thing where they'd give you a free magazine, and it was like a PDF. But that was considered part of the order. So once the PDF had been delivered to you, sorry, it's partly delivered, we can't refund you. It's crafty, right? So I complained and complained and complained. And then eventually I did get my money back. But they said, we're sending you anyway. And I said, we've already sent it, but we'll give you your money back. And I was like, okay. And then what turned up, I'm like, this ain't what I ordered. So what turned up, I ordered a Thing mug, a Jaws mug, a Wonder Woman mug, and a Ghostbusters mug. That's what I ordered. What turned up was 2 Jaws mugs, and three Central Perk doormats. I'm like, okay. So, but I mean, ultimately I got my money back, so I didn't pay for this stuff. But I didn't need 1 Central Perk doormat, let alone 3, and I certainly didn't order one. So I would have been pissed if that is if I had paid for it. I'd have been a very, very unhappy bear. What are we watching? We're watching Secret Invasion. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if you're enjoying Secret Invasion or not. There was 1 episode in, so I mean, it's still early doors, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. It was solid. It didn't rely on constant CGI threat, which a lot of Marvel stuff does. It was good. It was like an espionage thing. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and I think it's got potential. So, 2nd episode is due out today, so we'll see where it goes. I mean, sometimes these things start off strong and end really weak. And sometimes the other way around. Sometimes they start weak and end strong, kind of like Moon Knight. I really enjoyed Moon Knight. But we really enjoyed it. So me and the kid watched it last week. We're going to watch the new one when he comes home from school today. But we really enjoyed it. I recommend it. If you haven't watched it yet, I recommend it. Or let them build up and watch one in one hit. We like doing that as well. The other thing we're watching is Yellow Jackets Season 2. So if you haven't seen Yellow Jackets, again, if you're around about my age, I recommend it. My age, by the way, if you're wondering, I'm 43. I turned 44 this year. And I might have the body of a middle-aged man, but I've got the bank account of an 18-year-old. But Yellow Jackets is a show set now, but also set in 1997. And it's about a girls' soccer team in America that crash in the wilderness on the way to a tournament, and they're stranded out in like Alaska for 18 months. But not all of them that survived the crash survived the 18 months in the wilderness for various reasons. And it's kind of like a mystery, so you sort of start to piece together what happened. That it's a fantastic show. It's really good. But I'm nearly done with season 2 at the moment, and I'm going to miss it when it's gone, but I've really enjoyed it. And due to writer strikes at the moment, a lot of those shows we're waiting for new seasons for ain't going to happen. Because, well, they're not going to happen for a while. I mean, everything's been delayed now. So a lot of Marvel movies, their slate has been pushed out because they're not going to make the filming dates. A lot of the Marvel shows have been cancelled or aren't going to make it. I can tell you one that I know is being filmed in London at the moment. I'm not going to tell you why, but I know it is. And there is, if you saw the Halloween special they did last year with Werewolf by Night, there's one this year featuring Mephisto. And it's being filmed in the same place Ghostbusters was being filmed in London, just outside of London. But I know that that's what they're doing there. They're filming Mephisto. So I would imagine that's a Halloween special for this year. So that'll be interesting. I assume it's the Halloween special. There's too much filming for it to be a stinger on the end of something or a scene from another movie. I assume it's the Halloween special. So that'll be interesting. Yellow Jackets, again, if you're thinking, what is that? Here's the poster of Yellow Jackets. And it's great. It's really good. It's got a fantastic cast in it. Christina Ricci and Juliette Lewis. It's good. It's really good. Elijah Wood's in the new series as well. It's a really good show. But the reason why I say if you're my age you'll like it is because the soundtrack is a banger, right? So every single tune that comes on is typically something that was tearing up the charts when I was like 17, 18 years old. So it brings back a lot of memories. It's like every time one kicks in, you go, "Oh, I like that." My kids are looking at it. I'm like, this was a banger. This was the jam back in the day, trust me. And I get that with Stranger Things as well. Like my kid asks me all the time about Stranger Things. Was this what the 80s were like, Dad? And I'm like, no. No, they weren't. The 80s were nothing like this. Because again, we look at things with rose-tinted glasses. So the 80s are always seen as this kind of neon. And no, the 80s were unbelievably beige. That's what the 80s were. These are things people don't talk about the 80s. They went beige mental. I can remember McDonald's just being pure beige and orange and brown. That's what McDonald's was. It wasn't all neon. It was just beige. Arcades, for me, certainly weren't these glowing neon places. There were these dark, smoky places because half the arcade would have fruit machines, gamblers in them, that only 18s could go in. And just this bellow of smoke would be coming out of there whilst you were lining up waiting to get a go on, Pong or Joust. that's what was going on. And we used to have a guy in ours as well, right? So we'd have a guy that would just patrol the arcade. And if you were a smart kid, you knew what the answer was. He'd ask you a question, what are you doing? And your answer had to be waiting for a go. If it was anything other than that, throw your ass out. So I'm just watching, out. That's it, right? You I'm waiting for a go. Just waiting for a go. That's what you had to say. Otherwise you were thrown out. You couldn't watch someone play Ninja Turtles. Throw you out. But yeah, so no, the 80s was not like Stranger Things, but the soundtrack's a banger, man. You hear any soundtrack, just takes you right back, and music does that, and it's it's a beautiful thing. It really is. What else have we got coming up? So Titanic is going to be an exciting one because we are building the promenade deck. Now with that comes a new problem in the fact that I'm now storing half of the hull, the entire top deck, and then I'm going to be storing a full promenade deck as well. I really want to start bolting this stuff together soon because I am running out of room. This is a giant build room. If I'd been in the old build room, I'd have massive problems right now because I got nowhere to put it. I just don't. I'm running out of space because I don't want to leave these things on the floor. But when you're having to store 3.5 foot 3 times, it's like, wow, that's quite a lot. So, and I've still got the Ecto. I've got the Ecto 1 on the floor down here, because I'm waiting for the base in the case when it's going to go on the table over here. But it's a lot. Excuse me. It's a lot to store, and that's again, it's one of these things that with models as well you have to look at. So before you sub to anything, and I see a lot of people just go sub in blind without realising what they're subbing to, then start asking questions after they've subbed to it. Like, how big is this? How much is the overall cost going to be? How much is myself and other YouTubers as well, typically, when one of these models launches, we will do an introduction video. Well, we'll go through everything. So this is how much it costs. This is the free gifts you get. These are the options you can get. This is what the premium cost is. This is how big this thing is. We go through all of it. So my advice would be, watch one of those. You don't have to watch mine, watch anybody's. Where they do an intro to the model, and they will break down everything for you, and then you can know if it's right for you. Because what you don't want to do is find out the hard way something's too massive. Now, I did that with Iron Man. So what I didn't do with Iron Man was premium base. I love that. Because the premium base in the pictures looked a lot bloody smaller than the premium base that turned up. So when we finished building the premium base, I'm like, this thing's like a sewer lid. It is humongous. I'm like, bloody hell, it's just massive. I'm glad I've got it and we're using it, but I really wish I'd checked that properly, and I didn't. And that's what you need to do. So it's kind of on you. So you do have to take responsibility of checking these things. It's like the Titanic. I knew the Titanic was going to be 5 foot long. So the actual model itself is 4.5 foot. But with the case as well, you're looking at about 5 feet long, which is huge. So if you don't have 5 feet of display area, don't get that Titanic. It really is that simple. And one you need to be very conscious of this is the Lancaster bomber. That thing is enormous. The Lancaster bomber is absolutely enormous. You are going to need over a square meter of space to display it. That is huge. That is absolutely huge because it comes with a diorama of the dam, and that thing is massive because it holds the bomber on top of it as well. It is an absolutely humongous model. So if you don't have the room for that, you don't have an understanding why, full except that you're putting a Lancaster bomber in a living room, then you need to take that into account. And this is always the way. It's like the Gauntlet is bloody humongous. And you'd be forgiven for thinking it was just going to be the size of a normal hand. But it's not. So all the dimensions are on there. So you need to get your tape measure and kind of, and then you sort of see how big the things are. And you're like, Jesus, is it right for you? Can you store it? Because if not, what's going to end up is just going to be this thing that gets in your way, and eventually you're going to get rid of it for a fraction of the price you paid for it. Very rarely do these models increase in value. They typically depreciate in value. And the reason why is because what we actually pay them for as modelers, because I don't mind telling you, I'm paying to build it. I'm not the parts. So when people complain that, this part cost me, I'm like, yeah, I know, but that's not what we're paying for, is it? So you get this a lot when a new model launches, particularly on a social media site. You'll get a lot of non-modelers jump on there and start telling you how you can get a cheaper one here. I'm like, well, no, you can't. No, you can't. because I want to build it. I want to invest the time in it. That's what I enjoy doing. I know you can go and buy an Infinity Gauntlet. I'm aware of this, but I want to build an Infinity Gauntlet. I want to spend time with my kids, making memories, putting these things together. I want the chill out time, I want the relaxed time, and I want the achievement. I want the sense of achievement of I built this, I made this. That's what we pay for. That's what we pay for, not just the parts. Because if it was a case of walking into a store and buying one, well, that's it. Done. That's it. So when someone says you can get one for half the price, yeah, and half the fun. You know, it's not for me. The strange one was you got up with the DeLorean, you got up with the Ecto 1 as well. Everyone said you can get Playmobil versions. Yeah, you can get Playmobil versions. You can just get Hot Wheels versions as well. I don't want those either. I want to build the car. So this is the thing. It's like I built that. Every single screw, nut, bolt, everything on there. I did that and I enjoyed it. And I got to talk to all of you and we got to exchange ideas. And that's what we pay for, isn't it? So with the Doll's House, you get a lot with the Doll's House. You can definitely go and buy a cheap plastic Doll's House, 100%. You can definitely go and do that. But I like the idea of having something that I built. So when it goes to a family member, it was like, I built this. This was built with love. You know, this is for you. I did all of this. And I think a lot of people that are building that for their kids love that this is, you know, I put my time into this. I built this for you. And that's a beautiful thing. So that's what we pay for with these things. So when it's easy to complain, particularly with Tumblr at the moment. So I know with Tumblr, we've gone from very kind of in-depth when we were building the steering arms and whatnot to the next, I'd say 3 at least. There ain't a lot going on. There really isn't. It's you know, we're putting joysticks on the side of something, we're adding some details to something, and people are waiting for these big pieces to come. They're gonna come, they have to come. But, you know, we can complain, is that it? Is that it? Because I mean, but it happens. It happens. I mean, that's just the nature of partworks. So for every kind of one issue you get where there's nothing in it, you will get one where you're like, how did they do this for just a tenner? Where you get these giant, great big lumps of metal. That's how, because it all balances out. But that's what we pay for, right? We pay to build these things. Not just walk into a store and buy one pre-built. That's weird. That's not for me. Back to cases quickly. I mentioned a few other things as well that they could do them for. So Funko Pops was another one. Those of you that collect Funko Pops, I'm not, do you know what, right? I've got loads of Funko Pops. I've never bought one. People just kept buying them for me. I don't know why, but people just kept buying me Funko Pops. But they're also doing cases of Funko Pops as well. So you could have a small case for one Funko Pop in a box. Or you can have a long case, you could put a bunch of Funko Pops in. So again, these are all options. And I mentioned the figurine collection. So when you have things like the Street Fighter figurine collection and the Star Wars helmet collection, I mentioned that as well. And I said, is that an option? They said, yes, it is. And they can put in the case kind of the sockets for each one of those to sit in. You can put the Star Wars ships in and you can have it staggered or whatever you wanted. So the sky's the limit with those, it really is. So it'll be interesting to see where we go with it. So we do have a couple coming up this week. We have got the Roker, have I got it down here? The Roker Mars rover will be this week. I don't know where it is, but it will be this week. We have the Chocolate Factory will be on the channel this week. Where's the Mars rover? Let's go. There it is. Let me see if I can show you this thing. So this is being built today. This will be on the channel tomorrow. So here's the Harbinger. This is solar powered. So this will work by the power of the sun. We will harness the energy of the sun to do this and then see if we can kill Superman as well. But this is the Mars rover. So this will be a very cute little thing. I got this for a steal. I paid, I think it was about £7 for this. It's normally 30 quid. Always check your Amazons for the vouchers they put on there. It's definitely on Roker and Roll-Off models and book nooks as well. So we've got that one coming up. We've got the Chocolate Factory coming up this week. We have a few other bits and pieces that are going to be on, but main models, none this week, unless Infinity Gauntlet turns up. We are, as I said, doing an Ask Me Anything. We have had a few questions come in so far. So there'll be another Ask Me Anything probably end of July. So if you have got anything you'd like to know, it doesn't have to be model related. It could be anything, really. And I'll answer it. So you just put in the title of your email, ask me anything, and bang your question in. I'm not going to read them. My wife reads them, writes them all down on a piece of paper, and bam, in they go. So you've already got 9 questions left over from last week. We've got about 5 in so far, so we've got like 14 questions already. But we'll rack up as many as we can. We'll just lucky dip them, see what comes out. Lives. I've had people ask me about going live. No, not really. It's not because I'm scared of going live or anything. It's because with the exception of this week, I just don't have time to do it. I don't have time for that to be a regular thing because I never know when I'm going to be free. And it can be a phone call at a moment's notice and then that's it. I'm at work. So I I just can't commit to live streams, so I don't want a bunch of people waiting for me to come online and I just don't turn up. So unfortunately, there's no immediate plans to do one, but I will try and work something out where we try and get at least one in every couple of months or something, because it'd be nice to interact with all of you live. It really would. There's a few other bits and pieces coming up. I've been asked to go on a couple of podcasts and also other people's lives, which I can kind of do because I can at least let them know I'm not going to make it, as long as I'm not sort of advertised as being there. Other people's lives I can do. But yeah, I've been asked to do a couple of podcasts as well, so I'll be doing those, and when we do those, I'll let you know what they are and where you can find them. And it's good. I think it's good. I love podcasts. I listen to loads of them. My favorite podcast is called Radio Rental. If you haven't heard Radio Rental, check it out. It's weird stories that happen to people told by the people it happened to. Not all supernatural or anything like that, just odd stories. This is something weird that happened to me, and it's a fascinating show. It's also very funny. So it's well worth your time. That's about all from me. I will be back with the Mars rover and with a few other bits and pieces this week. If Infinity Gauntlet turns up, we'll be up with Infinity Gauntlet. I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. I don't think that's going to be until next week. But that's all from me. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. If you haven't yet, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you would like to contact us, you can email us at buildingtheboys@outlook.com and we will get back to you. I will see you very soon for more models and more shenanigans. I'll catch you then.